小咪又到我们的故事时间了，今天要讲什么故事啊
The
Emperor's Egg， 它是什么？皇帝企鹅，对不对？你小时候我常念这本给你听，我觉得它好可爱哦，里面有很多跟皇帝企鹅有关的知识哦。There are 17 kinds of penguin, but the emperor is the only one that breeds in Antarctica in mid-winter. The adults arrive at their breeding areas, often more than 100 miles from the open sea. In late autumn, a few weeks later, the female lays her single egg and returns to the sea, leaving the male to keep the egg warm until it hatches a couple of months later. 所以是企鹅爸爸在孵化小企鹅哦。
你知道，妈妈和爸爸会轮流看守到轮流去找食物吗？然后企鹅妈妈或者企鹅爸爸回来的时候，你没有看到食物，他们会把已经咀嚼掉的食物吐出来给宝宝吃。
哦，原来是这样哦。At first, the male and female take turns caring for the chick， 就像你刚刚讲的。But soon it is big enough to be left, while both parents go fishing for its food in the sea. By the time it is 4 months old, the young penguin's coat of down has been replaced by adult feathers. It now also sets off for the sea, where it has to start taking care of itself. 所以小企鹅很快就成熟长大，要自己照顾自己哦。我们来看一下这个故事。Down at the very bottom of the world, there is a huge island that's almost completely covered in snow and ice. It's called Antarctica, and it's the coldest, windiest place on Earth. 就是南极洲啦。The weather's bad enough there in summer. 对啊。There in summer, but in winter it's really terrible. It's hard to imagine anything actually living there. But wait, what's that shape over there? It can't be. Yes. 是什么？企鹅，对不对？ It's a penguin. It's not just any old penguin either. It's a male emperor penguin, the biggest penguin in the world. And he's doing a very important job. He's taking care of his egg. Male emperor penguins are about 4 feet tall. The females are a little smaller.
好高。
他蛮高的啊。He didn't lay it himself, of course. His mate did that a few weeks ago, but very soon afterward, she turned around and waddled off to the sea. 就像我们刚刚讲的，妈妈就进到水里面去觅食、去休息的。That's where female emperor penguins spend most of the winter, swimming about, getting as fat as they can, eating as much as they can, and generally having a very nice time, as far as you can tell. Emperor penguins eat mainly fish, squid, and tiny shrimp-like animals called krill, which leaves the father penguin stuck on the ice with his egg. 你刚看到脚边有一颗蛋，对不对？ Now the most important thing about egg sitting is to stop your egg from getting cold. Inside the egg, a penguin chick is starting to grow. If the egg gets cold, the chick will die. 所以要保护自己的宝宝啊！所有的父母亲都很伟大呢。That means it has to be kept off the ice and out of the wind. And what better way to do that than to rest it on your feet and tuck it right up under your tummy, which is just what the father penguin does. And that's how he will stay for 2 whole months until his egg is ready to hatch. 2个月站着不能动呢。我看叫你站5分钟你就不行了吧 Can you imagine it? Standing around in the freezing cold with an egg on your feet for 2 whole months. 重点是脚上还有一颗蛋，不能动，不能走来走去都不行。好伟大哦 Female emperor penguins lay 1 egg in May or June, which is the beginning of winter in Antarctic， 就是这个冬天跟夏天跟我们这边是颠倒的，因为他们是在南半球，我们在北半球。What's more, there's nothing for the father penguin to eat on land, and because his eggs sitting, he can't go off to the sea to feed. So that means 2 whole months with an egg on your feet and no dinner, or breakfast, or lunch, or snack. I don't know about you, but I would be very, very miserable. 如果是我，我也会觉得很痛苦啊。2个月不能离开那个地方，脚上面还放了一颗蛋，最重要的是3顿饭都没有办法吃，没有早餐，没有午餐，也没有晚餐，饿肚子。唉。Luckily, the penguins don't seem to mind too much. They have thick feathers and lots of fat under their skin to help keep them warm. And when it gets really cold and windy, they all snuggle up together and shuffle over the ice in a great big huddle. Most of the time, the huddle trundles along very, very slowly.But sometimes, when the penguins get to a particularly slippery slope, they slide down it on their tummies. Phew! 好好玩的滑冰哦，对不对？ Pushing themselves along with their flippers, always remembering to take care of their egg, and trying hard not to bump into each other. Even though the male keeps the egg tucked up tight under their tummies when they slide, it sometimes rolls out and breaks. 要非常小心，不然是会破掉的。唉。And that's how the father penguin spends the winter, until one day he hears a chip, 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 chip. 好可爱的小鸡哦 His egg is starting to hatch. It takes a day or so, but finally the egg cracks right open, and out pops a penguin chick. Chick, 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 chick. 好可爱的小 chick， 对呀。Now the father penguin has 2 jobs to do. 责任还没了呢。He has to keep the chick warm as well, and he has to feed it. 所以不只要让它保暖，还要给它吃的耶，怎么办呢？ The chick is only about 6 inches tall at first, and much too small to keep warm by itself. But on what? The chick is too small to be taken off to the sea to catch food, and it can't be left behind on the ice. Well, deep down in the father penguin's throat, there is a pouch where he makes something a little like milk, and that's what he feeds to his hungry chick. 他自己不能去吃饭就算了，还要帮宝宝准备食物诶。The father penguin can make only enough of the milk stuff to feed his chick for a couple of weeks. But just as he is about to run out, a dot appears on the horizon. 是谁？ It gets closer and closer and closer and yes! 是谁啊？ It's Mom! She starts trumpeting hello, and the father penguin starts trumpeting hello, and the chick whistles. 好可爱，大家一家人聚在一起来，超可爱的。The racket goes on for hours, and it really does sound as if they are extremely pleased to see each other. Every adult penguin has its own special call, like a fingerprint. Chicks have their own special whistles too. 所以它们的叫声都很独特哦。As soon as things have calmed down, the mother penguin is sick right into her chick's mouth. Oh, yuck. You may think Yum thinks the chick, and gobbles it's all done. It's the mother's turn to take care of the chick now, while the father sets off to the sea for a well-earned meal of his own. About time too. 终于爸爸可以休息一下，放个小假，好不好？好啦，讲完了，这边就是要讲皇帝王企鹅他们是怎么样孵化自己的小宝宝，怎么样照顾他们的，好可爱哟！想到这里就觉得好可爱。 糟糕，太萌了，受不了了。你有没有觉得它很可爱？有吼。好啦，希望大家喜欢这个故事，蛮科普的，学到很多知识。我觉得印象最深刻就是你有办法忍受整整2个月站在寒冷的冬天的那个冰雪地里面，然后不能动，脚上还有一个蛋，重点是3餐还不能吃，好辛苦哦！天下的父母亲都很伟大，向你们致敬。